Good morning. This is the substitute for Sunday's Pilates mat class. Some props you might want to have. If you have a yoga strap or some kind of belt, we are going to be wrapping this around our feet later in bridge pose. We're also going to be sliding our heels in from bridge pose. So what works really well is if you have carpet, a smooth folder or piece of cardboard that can slide easily on the ground like this. And if you have hard floors, then you want to get a towel of some sort so that you can slide your feet back and forth as well. We're going to focus on hamstrings and glute engagement because me personally, it's been a while and I'm starting to lose tone in my glutes. It just goes really fast. I don't know why. So we got to work on it constantly. All right, let's get started. Standing and tuck your chin. Well, actually, balance your feet first so that your weight is even. Tuck your chin and slowly roll down. Just kind of seeing how the spine feels today. You can see my low back is a little stiff because I'm not able to roll into it. And you'll see at the end of class how it looks a little different. For full disclosure, I've not warmed up yet today. All right, and then let's have a seat here and just do a Pilates warm up. So if you are having low back pain or tightness today, I want you to imprint your low back into the ground. So see how my pelvis tilts and my low back is now in contact with the ground. However, if you don't have low back pain, then let's strengthen the low back and we'll have the pelvis in neutral. So if you make a little triangle with your hands, put it on your pelvis, your hands in neutral pelvis and neutral spine, your pelvis will be flat to the ground, parallel or to the ground, and there'll be a tiny arch in the low back. All right, so we're going to play with some pelvic tilts. So tilt in and exhale. Inhale. Actually, it's exhale and inhale. You can keep going. Start rocking that pelvis back and forth, imprinting the low back, and then taking it slightly out of neutral just to see how that feels. Posterior tilt pelvis, anterior tilt pelvis. All right. Now bring it back to neutral. If you don't have low back problems, you'll have a little space in the small of your back. Hands behind the head, and keep the space under the low back and just lift the head, neck, and shoulders. It's a lot harder than if I let my back imprint. I can come up way higher. So I'm not letting my back imprint. I'm going to come up and inhale. Exhale. Inhale down. And you want your descent to be slow and controlled because that's when we're building muscles. And let's do 5, 4, keeping that space in the low back, but also engaging the belly button to the spine. Starting to get a feel for how that feels. I'm starting to shake. You might be shaking already. 3, 2, 1, and hold it at the top. Keep that low back, a little bit arch in neutral. Pelvis is in neutral. Rotate to the right. Rotate to the left. And exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale the center. Exhale, rotate. Rest the head into the fingers, the nest that is your hands, so you don't strain your neck. 3, 2, inhale, exhale, last one. Stay up, grab the backs of the thighs, roll up just a little bit higher, engage and feel your belly button pulling to the spine, reach your hands out, roll down, arms overhead, and stretch out your legs. All right, our abs are a little bit warmed up now. Let's roll ourselves up. Let's just see how this feels. Mine's a little sticky still because my spine isn't quite warmed up. Reach for your toes. Inhale to a straight back and exhale, roll all the way back down to the ground. Let's just do one more. Arms to the ceiling, reach the hands, head, neck, and shoulders come up. And then exhale, roll yourself forward, reach towards your toes, past your toes if you can. Engage the core here too. So that might pull me away, but at least I'm bringing the belly button to the spine. And then inhale, roll down. Okay, bring your legs up. Let's get this psoas really warmed up here. So again, small arch in your back here if you have no back problems. Otherwise, I'll show you what it looks like imprinted. This is imprinted. All right, and now we can switch feet. So either choose to do the imprint or not in this mode, but make sure you feel your belly button pulling to the spine and switching your feet. Your quads are doing almost no work here. This is your psoas muscle, which runs through the belly. Hip flexors is what you also hear them called. And 5. Stabilize the core. So I'm squeezing my corset here, the transverse abdominis, while I'm doing these. And last one. Bring your feet together. If you have a yoga block, put it between your thighs, not the knees, but the middle of the thighs. Hands out to a T, arms out to a T, and rotate. Squeeze the block. Come back to center. Inhale, exhale. Remember, coming back to center when you're fighting gravity is when you're building the most muscle. That's why we do it slow. And to the right, exhale. And inhale. Come back to center. Exhale. To the left. Come back to center. And with video, I can take some time to explain things. When you pull back to center, try not to initiate from the waist, initiate from this rib cage area. So my rib cage pulls first, right? It feels like my armpit's pulling into the ground. And then it works slowly, the rotation works slowly down. And now I'm back in center, neutral. Let's do it one more time. So come to the right. And when you roll back, try to engage the armpit. The rib cage comes down to the ground first, and then your hip hits the floor last. To the left. Hopefully I'm showing this to you in a good way. Armpit, obliques, and then the hip is the last thing to arrive. All right, keep that block between your legs. And let's see, let's do a few regular crunches. I'm going to imprint this time. I'm squeezing the block. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, bring the feet down. I'm going to come up to our first bridge of the day, squeezing that block and pull down. See how it feels here without any modifications. Squeeze the glutes at the top. Also notice that I'm not coming into an arch with my chest because I'm focusing today on the core and the glutes and the hamstrings. We'll save the upper back for later. So I'm keeping my rib cage fairly on the ground. And then let's see. Let's bring our feet up to releve now. and you might need to bring them closer to your glutes. Come up, engage the glutes. And we're gonna stay here for a little bit so we can get a feel for what it's like to be in releve and needing the glutes to fire. So this is gonna be a very boring part of the video. There's nobody to talk to, nobody to joke with except myself. Squeeze the block, squeeze the belly button towards the spine, right? And you're gonna see me make some adjustments. I don't wanna be so high up on my chest, so if you're up here, bring yourself a little bit back to neutral. So my torso is in the shape that it would look like if I was just standing, I guess. No, except my chest is on the ground. What I mean to say is this part of your body should be as flat and straight as we can from like the rib cage down. All right, engage the core. You should feel your glutes starting to burn a little. You should feel the calves burning a little. You're building some ankle strength here as well. Arms up to the ceiling. Make sure you're breathing and squeeze the block. All right, let's do 15, 14, 13, 12. You can do anything for 15 seconds, right? 9, 8, 7, 6. Engage the glutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and lower the heels and slowly roll down. All right. We're not done with these yet. So grab that folder or your rag or towel or something. Let's see if I can get this. I'm going to do it this way. So make sure your feet can fit on both sides of this. By the way, this is a Bella Diva folder. It's purple. So I'm going to first put it to one side, right onto the right foot, and then my left foot will be stable. All right, going to come up to bridge again. Again, don't arch the back and don't arch the upper back. Come back to neutral. Use your glutes to flatten this curve out. All right, and we'll do right leg out, right leg in, out, in. Keeping this pelvis as stable as you can. 3, 2, and 1. Starting to feel those hamstrings engage. Lower down. Take a breather. Switch your feet with the folder. Lift up. Primarily, I'm using my right foot to stabilize so I don't slip. Now I'm up again. Straight line with from the rib cage down. Tucking in the belly button. And 8, 7, pelvis is stable. 6, 5, hamstrings are pulling hard here. 3, the other side is working hard to stabilize. 2, and last one, bring it in and lower yourself down. I meant the last one on the left side. But now we're gonna do both sides. Let's do a little hamstring stretch here. Actually, yeah, why don't we just do a full. So head, neck, and shoulders are up. Bring your right leg in. Grab the back of the thigh, back of the calf, back of the ankle. Let this stretch out a little bit. My hamstrings are like, what are you doing so early in the morning? So, all right. The other leg is anchored down. So switch legs here. Might need to start with a little bit of a bent knee. So the right leg, whichever leg is on the ground, is straight, and you're trying to press the hamstrings into the ground. Okay, so back of the thigh, back of the calf. Your head, neck, and shoulders are also up. right? A little bit of stretch the hamstrings. You're going to be coming back to this after this next move. All right, you can wiggle your toes, ankles. All right, stretch out the body a little bit. Prepare yourself for one last bridge sequence here. Okay, so come up gently and try not to slip out of this. Tuck the tailbone first and do a full kind of undulate up if you're a belly dancer. Okay, my pelvis is in line with my abdominals. I'm not flaring up through my rib cage or my chest. I'm letting the chest drop. This is neutral. All right, hands on the ground for traction. Let's do 5. Woo! Stabilize. 4. Pull hamstrings. Stabilize. 3. I don't know why I picked 5. 2. Stabilize through the core. Belly button in. Last one. Make it good. And pause here. Roll the way down. Pelvis is the last part of the roll down to release. Okay. You can push your towel or your folder out of the way. Your Bella Diva folder. All right. Again, this time, hands, let's see, bring your head, neck, and shoulders up. Anchor that bottom leg. And we're going to switch. Exhale, and the switch shall give you more power. Right? And then with each switch, we're going to do a pulse of the top leg, but not the bottom leg. And pause for a second. Comment here is if you cannot straighten your leg this far, start somewhere here or here. But I want you to keep the leg straight, because if we do it like this, we're not stretching the hamstrings. With the bent knees, I'd rather you have a straight leg, but lower, so it'd be like this. Right, so going back to this range of motion that I have earned from 2 years of Pilates practice, or whatever practice you have. And 3, 2, and 1. Last one. Legs up to table, legs up the wall pose. All right. If you need to rest at any time, feel free. Child's pose is a good one. You'd have to flip over. So, all right, point your toes. I'm going to change my angle a little bit here. We're going to make hip circles. So rotate to the right. Your head is, watch me, I guess. And then come to center, and then switch directions. Rotate to the left. Hips are moving with this. And then legs up to vertical. All right, so your head is going to be relaxed, and we'll go 1 to the middle. Switch directions. 2. And this is using your oblique muscles, side abdominal muscles. And keep going. Going to the right now. Also using hip flexors to stabilize. Learning how to control rotation with the full weight of our legs. If you need a modification, you can bend your knees and work on still letting the hips come around. But don't go past 90 in the thighs. Otherwise, we're just going into a fetal position and not really working the obliques anymore. All right. Okay, so roll yourself up. Let's see, what else was on this? Let's do a time check. We're 20 minutes in. All right. Let's come, actually, Now that we've done all that glute stuff, grab your yoga strap. Wrap it around just put it around the front of your ankles. If you need more length, so slowly roll down, control. Suck the belly button in. Only use the straps for a little bit of support, minimal support. Okay. Now we go back into bridge, but we give ourselves some extra support. And now you can go onto your shoulder blades. So tucking the tailbone, tucking the pelvis, rolling up and rolling down. If you notice, my knees are actually coming forward, and that's what we want. We want the knees to come forward. I'm rolling all the way to my shoulder blades, giving my chest a nice little stretch here, engaging the glutes, feeling the hamstrings be really strong here. Roll all the way down. What we wouldn't want to do is if my knees stayed put and I just push myself, I can even do it, push myself up, then I'm using different muscles. That's why we want the knees to traction forward on the lift. One more time, come up, stretch out the chest. You can bring your shoulder blades underneath you if you want. And breathe. All right, when we stretch out the glutes, when we engage the glutes and the hamstrings here, we're actually stretching out the quads in an active, engaged stretch. All right, that was just to see how things were feeling. Let's do some roll like a ball. So balance here on your tailbone or your sit bones. It's better than the tailbone. So this would be sit bone balancing. This is tailbone balancing. So either way, you're going to grab onto your ankles and let's do a few roll like a ball. So inhale, exhale, come up. Inhale back, exhale up. Try to keep the curve in the back even as you come up. Try to keep the shape. Don't let your head hit the back of the mat. All right, and here's an oldie but a goodie. We've done this before in some of our classes. So straighten one leg, straighten the other, still balancing. All right, so you can change your grip to the calves. I'm going to start here. We're going to roll back and then roll back up to the seated pose and hold it. All right, ready? Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. I'm going to try the ankles, which is a little bit harder. Inhale, whoop. Exhale. It's been a while since I've done these. Kind of lose it. The trick here is when you're back, you want to envision lifting your tailbone up to the ceiling in order to tilt the body forward. And this is just for fun. I mean, we're just using this to test where we're at, but there's not like a test you can pass or fail. I've seen like the founder of my school of Pilates. Let's do it one more time. He holds his calves. He doesn't hold his ankles. So we just do what's comfortable for us. All right. Okay, let's do some yoga poses. Change the angle of this camera. And if you guys have taken my class and taken the yoga portion of it, we're going to be very precise. So first, let's break down the standing pose. I love doing this video, by the way, because now you can rewind and kind of be like, what did she say? That didn't make any sense. So there is, in our legs up to our hips, all the way up to our neck, different mechanisms to help us support our body in space. So you want to push the ball of the foot into the ground. So now you're engaging the dome of the feet. Yeah, you feel kind of your toes spreading. Your weight is evenly on the ball and the heel, right? So then your feet are kind of externally rotating. You're going to feel a little bit of external rotation. Then your shins are going to internally rotate a little bit. That's the feeling. And so internally rotating the shins. Your knees and your thighs, your hips are going to externally rotate. So there's all this counter movement and pressure, but this is how our body lives in gravity, right? Hips are out, but we want to tuck the tailbone a little bit, suck the belly button in, all right? Shoulders externally rotate, but the arms, the forearms internally rotate. Yeah, weird, right? So try this with your shoulders. So bring your arms to a T, externally rotate your shoulders so that you're kind of bringing them behind and back. Palms are up. Now without moving your shoulders, rotate your palms down. So now your shoulders are externally rotated towards the back of the room and your forearms are internally rotated more towards with the palms facing down. So I call it like a corkscrew. The body's like a corkscrew. All right, so keeping those engagements in mind, let's jump out to a wide leg. So left foot in my case is pointed this way towards the front of my mat. Left foot is, the back foot is 45 degrees more pointed towards the camera. Bend the front leg. All right, first feel the outside of your back foot. You're on the outside edge of that, but you're going to internally rotate your shins while externally rotating the hip. Ultimately, the shape you're looking for is your hip bones are pointed to the side or the long side of your mat. And then this leg here, I don't want to see have your knee right above your ankle. So try to pull it back so hips are still pointing this way. Okay. And as you settle into this active, your legs are completely active, especially the back leg. Front leg is more of the weight bearing. And you're also pulling and working on the psoas muscles here, and the iliacus. Let's bring arms out to a T. Palms are facing up. Look over your front arm. And now rotate your palms down. And feel that corkscrew feeling in the shoulders. And breathe. Should start to feel a little difficult here. I took a yoga class once. It was a series, 6-week series. And by the end of it, she had us holding every pose, even plank pose, for 5 minutes. And you think you can't do it until you can do it, until you do it, and you're like, oh. It was a very enlightening experience. So you're just breathing and holding, feeling some burn. Maybe try pulling your heels isometrically together or your feet isometrically together. See how everything kind of tightens up. Bring your core into play. I mean, if you're going to hold this for 5 minutes, which we're not, but if we're going to hold it for 5 minutes, you need every muscle in your body to help. All right. Okay, straighten the leg. Turn your feet in towards the front. And let's switch directions. Front foot pointed towards the short end. This is at 45 degrees. Bend the front knee, hip bones are facing the long end of your mat. What feels tight here? Does anything feel a little shaky or unstable? If so, take a deep breath in and send some breath to it out. Remember, shoulders rotated out and palms and forearms rotated in. Engaging both legs, so knife edge of the back foot, shins are rotated slightly inward, but the thigh is pulling externally, so back. If I could, I'd pull this, right? Tucking that tailbone a bit, engaging, and touch yourself through this. Like, I'm not there to give you cues, but pull the belly button in. Feel where it's tight, breathe into it. If you need to or you want to, put some movement into your pose. Right? Is one leg engaging more than the other? If so, switch your attention back to whichever leg is kind of losing its focus. Turn your head over your front hand and let's kind of bring the neck into this pose. Feel a little bit of engagement. Yeah. Nice and warm. All right, and then come to center. Switch back to the other side. This time we're doing warrior 2. So your feet can be, instead of side by side, they can be parallel on railroad tracks. So your right heel is actually a little bit further away from the left. Now this time the hips are pointing forward towards the short end of your mat. Now we're going to feel the front knee is bent. We're going to feel this more in the back leg. Knife edge of the foot, still at 90 or 45 degrees. Shins are rotating inward, but thigh is rotating outward. And get this, while you're rotating your thigh out, you're also trying to bring the hip forward. If this bothers your knee, maybe shorten your stance, or you can turn your foot a little bit more towards the front of the room. But the idea is that you're fighting your own tendency. You want to rotate your leg out to the front. Your body wants to do that, but you're going to train it and work out this. We're getting like a deeper angle on the psoas muscle. Okay, so my hips I'm trying to point this way, but even the best yoga practitioners don't always get there. So, and arms up. Engage the knife edge of your back foot. Your front leg, the knee is over the ankle. And we'll stay here for a little bit, breathing and thinking about how wonderful it is to be on our mat and have a video that you can follow. Try to tune out any background noises. All right, and then grab whichever leg is back, grab that arm. And add a little side bend. Ooh, nice. Keeping that back foot still grounded. That leg is very much engaged. Remember, we warmed up the hamstrings and the glutes, so give your glutes a squeeze back there. Feel the hamstrings straighten the knee too. They're there to help you. And all right, come back to hands up to the ceiling. Turn your feet towards the front of the room. Let's do a little forward bend. A little bit of side to side motion. I'm trying If you need to, put your hands on the ground. If otherwise, our inner thigh muscles should be pretty warmed up, so you might be able to kind of speed skate back and forth. Right. Turn to the other direction. Front toes are pointed to the short end. My feet are a bit wider than they are in Warrior series. Actually, this is Warrior 1. I call it Warrior 2. It's Warrior 1. Okay, so back edge of the foot. I'll do it this way. So back edge of the foot is pressed into the ground. Internal, internal, external, internal. Internal at the pelvis. Front knee is nice and stable. Knee over ankle. Lift your toes a little bit. That'll tell you if you don't want to be like this. You want to make it as easy as you can for that front leg. Okay, engage that back leg. So this is unengaged back leg, what it looks like. I'm just hanging out here. This is an engaged back leg. My glutes are firing. So my body wants to externally rotate, but I'm going to also use my abdominals, my iliacus and psoas to keep that leg straight and the hips pointed towards the short end of your mat. Okay, arms up. If you're not sweating, send me a message and we'll figure out what cues I can give you to make this active pose even more active. If you want, you can isometrically bring your feet together. If this hurts your knee, like I said, you can point your toes more in the same direction. You can bend your knee a little bit more. The main thing is trying to just fight the external rotation with an internal rotation. So these are pulling in opposite direction. Engaging the glute here. Everything's active, active, active. A little bit more of a challenge. You can internally rotate the shoulders and reach for the sky at the same time. Right. Point your toes back to the front. And let's do a little goddess pose. And up. And squat, wide-legged squat. And up. From here, hell, why not? Lift one ankle. Bring your elbows to your side. Don't flare your chest. Tuck the chest. Left ankle's up. And stabilize here. Let's try to do both ankles up. And see if you're sickling your ankle. It's going to be by feel. You can't see it. But like, are you collapsing in? Are you collapsing out? Stabilize, stabilize. And my quads are going to be sore tomorrow. So is my hamstring. All right. Let's see. We have a few minutes left. Let's grab our straps. If you don't have one, you can still do these poses. We're going to do tree pose and dancer pose. But dancer, we're going to use our glutes and hamstrings to see how nice we can get into it. It's not a competition, so do what's right for your body for these poses, of course, for all poses. So with tree pose, you can start with foot on the shin or foot on the inside of the thigh. If you have it in your practice, you can do a kind of Padme pose with your your foot. I don't like this because it kind of forces my ankle to sickle. So I'm here. Don't put your foot on the side of your knee. All right, so I'm pushing my foot into my inner thigh and my inner thigh against my foot. My left glute is firing. I've got the torsion or the screw feeling. What did I call it? The torsion feeling. So my foot is, I'm trying to find the dome or the arch of my foot side to side and front to back, right? I'm trying to bring my shin internally rotated towards my center, and I'm trying to externally rotate my hip just a little bit, just so you can feel the juxtaposition, right? And as you're pushing your heel into your inner thigh, you're actually massaging your inner thigh muscles. So you can wiggle your toes too. All right, leveling up, arms up. Okay, shoulders back. And then you can look up slightly, and if you want for a bigger challenge, you can close your eyes and see how long that lasts. All right, shake out the foot. Take your time coming out of the pose if you didn't fall out of it like I did. Do a little ankle rotation here. Been using our ankles actually pretty well. Okay, now switch to the other foot. Start balancing. So you can so externally rotate this hip. Put your foot on the shin. Ooh. Help yourself up to here or here. Oftentimes if you want to try this pose, keep your ankles straight. You can hold onto your foot through it. I personally like this one because I get the inner thigh muscle engagement. All right, so inner thigh is pushing against the foot. Foot is pushing against inner thigh. Excuse me. You can wiggle your toes, give yourself a little massage. Feel the torsion of the foot, the shin, the hip. And as I said that, my glute engaged, right? Don't flare your ribs out. Bring the ribs down. Bring the belly button in. Even here, standing, we can engage the core or support and bringing our center of gravity in. Okay, so arms up. Are you using all of your foot to keep your balance here? I'm cramping. You might be too. Look up towards lift your chin and change the feeling of your balance. Bring your shoulders down. Hands are still reaching. And if you want more of a challenge, you can close your eyes. Keep breathing. All right, and then slowly come out of this pose. Rotate your ankle. Rotate the other way. Point and flex. Get some blood flow back in there. All right. Last one, dancer. Your strap, if you have one, keep it completely unwound, so the full length of it. Step your foot through onto the straps, okay? Then cross the straps and switch your hands, which hands are holding the straps. Now step your other leg through the X, through the top of the X. Bring the straps behind you. So what it looks like, again, my straps are crossed on this foot. And then I will step my other foot through the V and then bring this foot back. Okay, before we start pulling and yanking on the strap, engage your glutes. And you're kick the leg out. The bottom leg, standing leg is nice and solid. You've got all these different torsion, external, internal rotations there. I have no idea what my dancer looks like. I hope it looks good, or proper form at least. All right, and now I'm going for more. So before we lean forward into dancer, you want to work first on the leg extension backwards. Okay, let yourself out of that. Let's see. All right, switch feet, step onto the strap, cross the straps, step through. You might even want to get it on the ankle, but make sure that strap is solid. Kick into the back leg, engage the back glute, and work your way down the strap with your hands. You could go into a more full expression forward. I fell out of it on the other side. But I like to stay here and just stretch out the quads. And breathe. Balancing leg is nice and strong. And slowly release the straps. All right. So last thing, we'll be ending at 50 minutes or so. We're gonna do the roll down. This is more Pilates mat move, so feet are balanced on the ground. Does the ground feel more solid underneath you? It does to me. All that leg engagement, glute engagement. All right, so let your arms be heavy by your side. Tuck your chin, roll slightly forward. Bend the knees just a teeny bit. And see if you have a little bit more mobility coming down. And inhale down at the bottom. Exhale. Roll up. Inhale, let's do it one more time. And exhale, roll down, don't lock the knees. Just let the arms hang with gravity. And roll up. All right. Thanks for watching. If you like this video or have any feedback, just let me know. Thanks.